Hey, what's up guys? Dustin Heiner here with Master Passive Income. I want to talk to you about my favorite book. Next to the Bible, which I have the Bible, if you see it's right there. Next to the Bible, this is my favorite book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The reason why, even though I don't read it all the time, I've read it probably like 4 or 5 times, but the reason why it's so amazing is it got me to where I am now, where I'm literally successfully unemployed. You see the sign right there? I am successfully unemployed and I will never work a job again. And that is because I have real estate rental properties. Now, I want to talk to you about this book. I want to give you a summary, a review. I want to help you understand everything inside this book because it is such an amazing book. Now, this is a review. I want you to also get the book because the book is fantastic. So many great stories, so many principles that you need to put inside your life so that you can actually become successfully unemployed. Now, as you're going through the book, you're going to be hearing stories from Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki is the author, and he basically is telling you 2 different perspectives on how to make money. So, Rich Dad, Poor Dad basically starts out with Robert being a little kid, having a poor dad, and that's his natural biological father who is a teacher. He's a teacher and he has a perspective of we work hard, we don't make a lot of money, but we work hard and we consistently work, and eventually we retire when we're age 68 and hopefully the government will take care of us, or we saved up money. So that's one perspective, is we work and we work. And we work and we keep working, and if we don't work, we don't get paid. And we try to get promotions, we try to move up. Eventually, his poor dad became like superintendent and tried to run for office. And eventually, his poor dad, didn't have a job, didn't make the public office that he was going to try to get after, and he didn't have any money. Now, contrast that to his rich dad. Now, he calls him his rich dad, but it's basically his best friend's dad. And his best friend, his dad, he was a business owner, an investor, as well as just many other things when it comes to making money in a different way. Now, what's really interesting is as we go to school, we're literally taught how to, take a test, and then that's our grade. And then we graduate, get a piece of paper to graduate from. And so what Rich Dad teaches him is that there's a different way than working a job. There's a different way than working for somebody else. You can actually be the boss yourself. You can actually be the one that makes the money. You can be the one that employs the people. You can be the one where you work one time, get passive income, and never work again. See, now I made all my money in real estate rental properties. I buy one rental property. It makes me $250 or more every single month in passive income. And from there, then I don't work. I literally don't do a thing because my property doesn't work for me. And I have property managers that manage the properties. And so that I learned from Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that you need passive income. Now, rental properties is just one of many different ways of creating passive income. But there are so many great principles that I want to walk you through throughout this book. Great big takeaways that you're going to need to have in your life, in your mind, as you're going down the path of becoming successfully unemployed. And I'll give you the first lesson. The first lesson is that the rich do not work for money. Now, poor people, they work for money. It's almost out of fear and possibly greed that poor people continually work, and they keep saying, I might get this next promotion, I might get a raise, and I need to keep working. And I would say it's a lot out of fear because we have to pay our bills, we have to keep the roof over our head, we have to feed our families, and so it's out of fear that we continually work. We don't venture out on our own. But now, rich people, they don't work for money. Instead, they realize that, hey, I can actually make it on my own. I don't need to rely on somebody else. And contrast the poor, how they make money, they work for money. The rich, they challenge themselves to actually make money for themselves. Instead of having to work a job, they create businesses, create investments, buy rental properties, and figure out a way to make money as opposed to create or earning money. See, there's earned income and passive income, or where you make money, where you create money where it didn't exist. If you create a business, that money wasn't there before you actually bought it. Now, once you buy that business, once you buy that property, once you create that business, then that money is there. So earned income is you work 1 hour and you get paid for that 1 hour. But if you make money by having a business, that's when you're actually making money as it did not exist before. And so the rich do not work for money. That's something you absolutely need to realize. The rich don't work for money. Poor people work for money. I will never work again. In fact, I would literally go and pay Warren Buffett. Well, if you don't know who Warren Buffett is, he is a brilliant stock investor. He loves buying companies and investing in companies, and he's a billionaire like 800 times over. I mean, he's a really, really rich guy. He is so smart that I would literally pay him, and it would only be pennies to him, but I would pay him to work for him so I can get knowledge, so I can get understanding, which leads us into the second lesson. Second lesson is in the importance of financial literacy. Financial literacy, basically understanding the difference between an asset and a liability. See, what we're always taught as we're growing up is, you go to school, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job, you get a career, and you keep working your life away. Well, that's for some people, but it's not for the rich. The importance of financial literacy is now, instead of working for money, we're now buying assets instead of liabilities. Another thing that we're taught as we're getting older, as we're growing up, is that you buy a house to live in, and your banker will tell you that is an asset. Oh, it's an asset. It's going to appreciate over time. Well, the rich people, we don't see it as being an asset. We see it as being a liability. So the definition you have been given as an asset versus liability is different than what you should know an asset and a liability. An asset, as simple as it is, puts money into your pocket. If you had a business that puts money in your pocket, that's an asset. If you had a painting that puts money in your pocket, that's an asset. But paintings don't put money in your pocket. I'm just saying, if you had something that put money in your pocket, if it puts money in your pocket, then that makes you money. That's an asset. A rental property is an asset because it puts money in your pocket. If we buy, or I buy, one rental property, the income, let's say it's at $1,200, the expenses is $1,000, the difference there is $200 in passive income. Well, that's an asset. Even if I have a mortgage on it, it's an asset because it makes me money. Now, a liability is different. A liability is where it takes money out of your pocket. If you had a car, you got a lease on a car, money comes out of your pocket. Unless you had a business where you rent out that car and make money, if it's just your own personal car that you're driving around town, that's a liability. Your house that you live in, unless you're making money doing Airbnb, you're making money from that property, unless you're doing that, it's a liability. So the rich people, they don't buy liabilities. They don't buy things that are going to lose them money. So they look at financial literacy. They want to make sure that they invest their money on things that make them more money. Instead of, Rich Dad calls it doodads, or just needless things like buying extra TVs or the best, newest phones, or buying the brand new car. And so the reason why you want to go after assets is that it puts money into your pocket as opposed to taking money out of your pocket. And everything that you're learning now, I actually have even more written out on my site. Go into the description. It'll have a link to the Rich Dad, Poor Dad entire review where I have so much more written out. There's so many more things you need to learn, diagrams and all that sort of stuff. Now, moving on to the lesson number 3. You want to mind your business. Or as Rich Dad likes to say, you need to mind your business. And this is where every spare thought that you're not working your job, that just over broke job, every spare thought you have needs to be going after that business. See, now poor people, they sit in front of the TV, they binge on Netflix, or they spend so much time watching TV or doing things that don't make them money. The rich people, they spend their time working, making money, and thinking about how to make money, how to do their business better. That's what the rich do. So you need to mind your business, put your mind on your business where you're continually learning over and over again how to do your business better, how to serve your customers better, how to make more money. And that is your number one goal, is to, number one, make money to provide for your family, but your number 2 goal is to serve people. So put your mind on your business, how to serve more people, how to do much better in your business. And lesson number 4 is basically the history of taxation in America and the power of corporations, the power of having an entity where you are personally not taxed. See, now the poor, and I was poor before where I had a job. And when I say poor, it means you have a job. You're working for somebody else. Well, the IRS, they take money out of your pocket every single time you get paid, as well as every single time you spend money, you get taxed. If you just live, or even if you die, you get taxed. If you have a dog, you get taxed. If you own a property, you get taxed. You get taxed all over the place. Now, what the rich do instead is they figure out, hey, there's another way to get past or get around taxes, because tax laws are written in certain ways that we can look at and say, hey, how can we get the least amount of tax coming out of our pocket? So in lesson number 4, Robert Kiyosaki talks about creating limited liability companies, corporations that are going to be entities that are taxed differently than us as normal, regular employees. They're taxed differently. I'll give you an example. I buy one rental property. It makes me money in 6 different ways. Through passive income every single month from the income minus expenses, that's passive income. I also get equity capture. If I buy the property for $20,000 less than it's worth, that's $20,000 in my pocket. Forced appreciation. If I put $5,000 into a property, then it's worth $10,000 more. Well, I just made $5,000. There's also market appreciation. Market just over time. The value of the houses go up over time. There's also tax advantages, which is what we're talking about. The last one is mortgage buy down. You buy a house, your tenants pay off your mortgage for you. It's absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love that. Now, the tax advantages, if you buy a rental property, you can depreciate that asset. Now, depreciate is a large word, basically saying that the value of whatever you bought, say a home for $100,000, you can take off that amount of money over 26 years, a little over 26 years, that you can deduct that out of your income. So you pay less in taxes because it looks like you have earned less because the depreciation on those properties. It's absolutely amazing. And Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad likes to call it a phantom expense. It's like a fake expense, like a ghost expense type thing, where basically you've already spent the money, but the value of that property continually goes up. The IRS says it goes down, but we know it goes up, and so we can deduct it. So we want to look at using corporations, limited liability companies. In the description, I'll put in there, I've made plenty of videos on how to create LLCs or limited liability companies, corporations. In the description, I'll put that in there as well, how you can go ahead and create your own LLC, your own limited liability company, and how I've done it and how you can do it too. But you utilize the power of entities, of LLCs, that you are taxed less, because if you're working a job, you are probably getting taxed 20, 30, 35%, maybe more out of your paycheck. If you have a rental property, that income that you make, you're only going to be taxed the income tax of 15%. Currently, it's 15%. That is the passive income tax, basically, of having a property that I'm not getting money from working a job. So I get taxed at 15% because I make money differently. Now, you make money differently. If you have a job, you're going to be taxed higher because that's just the way that the government works. They have these laws made up so that you're going to get taxed more. So why not utilize the tax laws that benefit you? The tax laws, actually all the laws apply, I hope, to everybody the same way. We just need to learn how to utilize them best to fulfill what we need to become successfully unemployed. And as I was talking about earlier, about how you need to have a business and how you need to make passive income, lesson number 5 is the rich invent money. We basically create money out of nowhere. So, give you a quick example. If you have a business, let's say you start a service business where you're a personal trainer, you're teaching people how to exercise. Well, that money in that business, so every time you get paid, that money wasn't there, or that business wasn't there. You were not making money then. You invented a business, created a business that helps somebody else, and you make money for that. So you invented a way to make money. Now, a big thing that is in Rich Dad, Poor Dad that I need to make sure you completely understand is there are 4 different quadrants. 4 different quadrants, and think of basically 4 different ways to make money. So there's the employee. So think of a quadrant. Think of a plus symbol, and a plus symbol in the top left-hand corner is an E, big letter E. Top right-hand corner is a big letter B. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to see this on the screen. And bottom left-hand corner is an S, bottom right-hand corner is an I. So the E stands for employee. So most people start out as an employee, which is great. Employees are great, but we don't want to start or stop there. We want to keep going. So from being an employee, that's the top left-hand corner in the quadrant, the bottom left-hand corner is the sole proprietor or the self-employed. So the majority of the people in the world are 95% of them are in the employee category or the sole proprietor, the self-employed type of business. Let's say a carpet cleaner. The carpet cleaner is a self-employed person because if they don't work, they don't make money, but they're not getting paid by one boss. In fact, what happens is they actually have multiple or many bosses. So they traded one boss that gives them one paycheck to hundreds of bosses that pay them as they work. So there's an employee and a sole proprietor or a self-employed person on the left-hand side of the quadrant. But the right-hand side of the quadrant is where we need to keep moving towards. The top right is the B, the business owner quadrant. When you create businesses, you employ people as well as you make money because let's say you just started that physical therapy business or the physical training business where you get a client, you show them how to exercise. They pay you money for your time and your training, your knowledge, your experience, and you make money. Well, that is a business. First, you're a sole proprietor, but let's say you hire other people and you create a gym. Now you're a business owner because other people are working for you. That's the whole goal, is having other people employ other people so that you don't work, but they work and you still make money. So that's the business owner. Now, you don't want to stop there. You want to keep moving to the last one. That is where you're an investor. I jumped from employee all the way to an investor. Rather than going from employee to sole proprietor to business owner to investor, I jumped all the way from employee to investor. And the reason why was because I tried out the S, or the sole proprietor. I tried out the B, the business, and those were hard. The investing was the easiest way to do. That's why I created Master Passive Income, is because it's so much easier to buy one rental property and employ or hire property managers to do the work. I hire realtors to find me the properties. I have everybody work for me, and I make money every single month. And so if I buy a property that makes me $250 a month, that is $3,000 a year. Wouldn't that be amazing, having an extra $3,000? But if you buy 10 properties, that's an extra $30,000 a year in your pocket without working. So you want to get to the I category, which is the investor category, as fast as possible. Now, the sixth lesson is you want to work to learn. You don't want to work for money. Like the example that I said, if Warren Buffett would allow me to pay him to actually go work for him, I absolutely would. I would pay him money to let me learn and work at the same time, because as I'm working, I'm going to be learning from him. And so if you imagine you went to college, let's say you spent $50,000, $60,000 or more on going to college, you're just getting a little bit of information. I mean, you're paying money to get information. Why not actually work and learn at the same time? Now, it's great if you're actually making money, but the goal should be to make the knowledge in your head grow. Not make money, but make more knowledge, or grow and learn. And so let's say you wanted to be a lawyer. Obviously, you got to go to school to learn that, but you also want to work for a law office. Maybe being a secretary, or being somebody that runs and gets coffee, but you're around it. You want to work to learn, not work for money. It would be better if you got paid less but learned more so that you could eventually become a business owner and an investor. And I'll tell you, colleges are everywhere nowadays, but trade schools are hopefully going to keep getting bigger and bigger. Let's say you want to, I want to be an electrician. That's all I want to do. I don't want to learn liberal studies. I don't want to learn about history. I don't want to learn. I just want to learn how to make money. Go to a trade school. Instead of going to college, spending $50,000, $60,000, making in my opinion, you're making the professors, the administrators, the Department of Education, you're making all of them rich instead of you. You're wasting all of your money. Instead of doing that, what you want to do, go to a trade school where you are learning right now what you need to do to make money. Stop thinking about college as being your answer. And if you've already gone to college, just like me, I'm going to destroy my diploma because I will literally never need it again because I have investments. Now, you want to work to learn and not work for money. Now, all of these lessons, there is so much more. And again, in the description, I'm going to put a link to where you can read so much more about this, as well as a link to get the book. And I want you to get this book as well. So go through all the review, see how I've applied it, how everything that I've learned in my business. Go to the show notes page so you can see everything written out. But also, honestly, get the book. It's a fantastic book. There are very, very few books that I would actually recommend, say, yes, you need to read it. But this is absolutely one that I suggest you to read because of the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. I literally will never work a job again. In fact, I do Master Passive Income because it's fun. I do Successfully Unemployed podcasts and my Master Passive Income podcast. I also have another podcast called Watch and Learn where my brother and I, we go and watch movies and then just talk about them and we just put them out there for everybody to listen to because it's fun, because I have so much more time. Imagine if you had your 40 hours a week, your 50 hours a week, or your 60 hours a week back, what you can do, how you, instead of missing your kids' Little League games, be the coach. Instead of not taking your spouse out to dinner, you actually can go and just pick anything on the menu. That is what investing in rental properties, that's what creating businesses, and that's what Rich Dad Poor Dad has done for me. So I'm a huge proponent of Rich Dad Poor Dad. So absolutely, you'll find all the links in the description that I'm talking about here. I want you to get started. And I also want you to get started investing in real estate rental properties. If you go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course, /free course, it's all one word, I will give you a free investing course where I'll show you how to analyze the deals, how to find deals, how to get other people to do the work for you, how to make $250 or more in every single property that you buy, and where you can quit your job by scaling the business up. I'll give you that for free. Go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course, or you can also text the word rental, RENTAL, to 33777. I'll put that in the description as well. I just want you guys to get started. This is just so much fun for me to do. Be here sharing all the great benefits of Rich Dad Poor Dad as well as passive income. All right, you guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for being here on the Master Passive Income Show. I'll see you guys next time.